going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my MMA Corner number 13 video. I'm going to run over a couple topics that were sent to me. Just a point of a reminder, I know I mentioned this in my last MMA Corner. If you do not see videos posted up here in the next coming weeks, don't be alarmed. I didn't disappear. School's picking back up like I mentioned before. It's very hectic right now, so if I don't post up an MMA Corner video or I don't post up a review video right away, don't be alarmed. It's just I've got a whole bunch of things going on. I'm trying to multitask. Nonetheless, let's get into this video. First topic that was sent to me was from JKAForever. Who do I think can beat Brock Lesnar? One, a guy that is a talented striker, a guy that can avoid Brock Lesnar's takedowns, which I think is going to be few and far between in the heavyweight division. And I think Lesnar proved to a lot of people, including myself, that he is exactly what he is. He's a 265-pound behemoth. He has some amazing athleticism for that weight. He has good cardio, and he's got probably the best takedowns in the heavyweight division as far as a wrestler is concerned. So, a better striker, a better jiu-jitsu practitioner, a guy like Frank Mir, a guy like Nogueira, somebody that can put Lesnar in danger. And you got to see in the fight with Herring that Lesnar had dominant positions but just wasn't able to finish the fight because it looked like he didn't know what or how to finish the fight. So that's something that he's got to improve on. But guys that I think that could beat him, like I said, a talented striker with good takedown defense. I think it's going to be hard to find that. Not the good striker, but the good takedown defense against a guy like Lesnar in the heavyweight division, with a few exceptions, and a good guy as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned. I think those are the two types of fighters that give Lesnar a problem. Thanks for the topic. Next topic was from SlyDog900, wanted me to talk about George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva. Could that fight be possible? Yes, and you mentioned that would it be possible to fight at 180, 182 catch weight. If Anderson Silva can cut down to that weight and be alright, I don't see any reason why these two guys couldn't fight. Right now, of course, GSP is lined up to fight, it looks like BJ Penn, if not at the end of this year, but the beginning of next year, which a lot of people have mixed emotions about that. And Anderson Silva, of course, is fighting Patrick Cote coming up here soon. So that fight may not happen for a while down the road. Is it a possibility? Of course. I think it would be a great fight. Who do I think wins? For another time. Thanks for the topic. DKnightJCL wanted me to talk about Anderson Silva. Is he the #1 middleweight in the world? Yes, I think so. And then, of course, you threw in the exceptions of it, that he hasn't fought Matt Lindland. He hasn't fought other top 185ers. I think who he's fought at this current point in time and the string of wins that he's had against several top 10 opponents, I think, yeah, does put him at that #1 spot. A, because of who he's beaten, and B, the devastating fashion that he's done it in. I think that eventually if you saw him fight Matt Lindland and a couple other guys that he hasn't fought yet, you know, there's your statement. But to come out and beat Dan Henderson, who was the welterweight champion in Pride, and to beat him in the fashion that he did, I mean, I think that's a statement in itself. And Dan Henderson knocked out and bested some of the best guys at that weight class. So I really think that Anderson Silva's wins speak for themselves. But this is a debated topic, and I can understand the arguments for and against, so I really don't have any complaints. But thanks for the topic. Thunder B1 wanted me to talk about Chuck Liddell versus Rampage Jackson. Why was this fight allowed over in Japan, and why don't we see other fights, cross-promotional fights with the UFC, happening with Pride or any other outside organization? Well, here's the first thing. If you go back and you watch their fight in 2003, you'll notice that wasn't a co-promoted event. Chuck Liddell was entered into that tournament and Dana White allowed it to happen. Why doesn't he allow it to happen now? That era of Pride versus UFC, as really to me as retarded as it was, because I think both organizations had their ups and their downs. I think both organizations are MMA organizations, and I think both organizations had top fighters. But it was Dana White's way of trying to get a fighter over into Pride to beat out Pride, all of their best fighters with his best fighter, and to try to market the UFC. The reason you won't see cross-promotional fights now, they want to tighten-knit control over their product. You won't see that anymore. And I think the only reason that we did see Chuck fight over in Japan was the fact that Dana White wanted to best out all of the fighters in Pride, along with Wanderlei Silva. And after Chuck got kind of destroyed in the way that he did against Rampage, I think Dana may have had second thoughts about putting anyone else over against guys like that, and having them, their images kind of shattered to the fans that watch the UFC. So I think that's another reason, is that mystique. If the fighter loses that, which is something that people talked about Anderson Silva fighting James Irvin. James Irvin happened to knock Anderson Silva out. There goes the mystique of Anderson Silva. So I think hopefully I cleared that up with what I said. So thanks for the topic. As always, leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. I will be back next week to do another MMA Corner video with topics that were sent to me from, of course, you, the viewer, and the subscriber. And on that note, you guys have a great day.